talk about how many men are willing to compromise their own freedom to make sure everybody else around them is free.
I think many, and that's a problem. Authentically you, and then you bring him next to like maybe
Somebody
his
else.
wife, he is different. Next to his kid, he is different. It's like, how did your voice get deeper? How did you know what I mean? Like he changed.
I don't know that about you.
What's up, man? It's your boy, Man King, podcast with your man, Coach Crump, and my man, 100.
Chizzy, what's up, man? How you?
I'm blessed, bro.
I like that green shirt, dude.
I was about to say, bro, you got like go to the club or something tonight, man. I ain't know if we're going to the club,
I
but
saw-
then
I
I was
saw
like,
our-
we may go to church, but then you
Our guest was dressed up nice, so I figured I had to put up a nice shirt.
He
or
applied that
something.
type of pressure to you?
Yeah, he put it.
Light skin, we do apply pressure to you, though. I ain't gonna hold you, man. Shout out to my
mean,
light
you know
skin
what I'm
brother,
saying?
Julian. What's up, fam?
Jeez.
Welcome
What's
to
up?
Welcome to the
up,
party
family?
again. Round 2. I know he's like, man, I think I seen him
I
before.
seen him before.
Yeah, man, he's back and better than ever.
For sure.
Say what's up to the people, Julian.
What's up, people?
He said, what's up, people?
Like, man, it's super excited to have you on the pod, man, because we just came from a King Con experience, man. Let the people know, man, you was one of our speakers. What was the experience like for you, man, at the conference?
It was great. I think being able to see the evolution of men. For some men, this was their first time getting to a place where they can release and share. Some men never gone to a conference with other men, so don't fully know what to expect. I think that was one of the big takeaway. A lot of men came because of the energy. It's like, I came because I felt pulled towards you. I don't fully know what to expect.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know what we're going to do. And then when they came, they're like, oh my God, like other men have the same struggle.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have pockets of the 30 to 40 year olds, the 40 plus, where they can see, like, because it's some season of life. Some people married for 18, some people just got engaged, some people have 1 kid, some people have 6 kids.
Yeah.
So just seeing that this work is needed, this requires, I like to say, like, general of God's army to come together, focus on the same mission to be able to grow this. You might have an entry, I have an entry, others have entries. The mission is still the same.
Sure.
Come on.
Sure.
And so that was my big takeaway.
And I love your speech as always, man, because it's like we talk about these attributes of being a king, being a man, but you always say you could be a man and you could be a king, but that don't mean you're free.
Yeah, I love it.
So, man, like kind
Give a
of
little piece about that freedom.
Yeah,
That freedom, boy.
Yeah, I think that's something that, because I'm talking a lot and people resonate, are people that look like me.
Yeah.
Black and brown have this place of just like, you just felt like the world has given you sometimes just this deck of card. You don't feel like it's fair sometimes. And so like you build something where you feel more solid. And the whole game is you just want to feel strong enough that like nothing can hit you. That's why it's all this, the picture of the lion, the picture, the tat, the body is just like, but it comes from a sense of just like, you still don't feel whole, And so although you can have the millions, you can have the business, you can have the car, you can have the family, you can have the family pictures, but deep inside you still feel lonely. Deep inside you don't feel worthy.
Yeah.
Deep inside you feel disconnected. That's prison.
Sure.
Right? Like that's prison. We talked about that.
Yeah.
One of my impossible game, which is my coach, impossible game, is the thing that you're looking at, that you want to aim, that the version of you today has no way of getting it.
Right.
That's why it feels impossible, because you today, possible. But there's an evolution that happens, just like the boy Man King. There's an evolution that happens. And inside that evolution, you get closer and closer. People come in, connections you make. One that I had was like a full sleeve. Right?
Yeah.
And I talked to Shizzy about that. He was like, man, I don't know if I can do tattoos. Like, like people might think that it's this midlife crisis. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a piece of
a lack of freedom.
Yeah.
Truth be told. Yeah. It is what it is.
People are controlling what you think. I talked to Jay. I was like, okay, you get the tattoo. I was like, dude, I want the same arm. And I'm like, I was afraid of doing it first because how my mom was going to react, how my brother was going to react. But the reality is, like, it's fear. Yeah. And so you're still not free to be who you are. You're not free to come online and speak your truth.
Facts.
You're a Christian, but you're like, I don't feel like I can curse, although like that's naturally how I speak. So I'm giving you a different persona, so that you feel good around me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a person who have so many different dynamics around me, from my adopted family, my blood family, who are all attached to me, plus the black and the white side who don't know each other.
Right.
So it's like I find myself always like having to be who I need to be so they can be free.
Right.
So talk about how many men are willing to compromise their own freedom to make sure everybody else around them is free.
Yeah, I think many, and that's a problem because you're not you.
Mm.
You're not authentically you. You don't speak the way you're going to speak. I think you talked about that, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because you can get a man that is around other people and he's going to have a specific voice, right? I call it his tune, his timing, his tempo, right? His delivery is different. And then you bring him next to like maybe
Somebody
his
else.
wife, he is different. Next to his kid, he is different. It's like, how did your voice get deeper? How did you know what I mean? Like he changes.
I don't know that about you.
Yeah, you're like, okay, you got the daddy voice, right? I used to
Yeah.
joke with Chris about that. I was like, okay, give me the business voice. Like, don't give me the business voice.
Right.
Like, I know the tune. Like, I can hear it.
Yeah.
You know,
He gave it to me the other day when I called.
You
Just
know,
talking about
you're
it.
like,
I was
don't
like,
give me-
he must
no.
be in a meeting. His in businessman. So I get it.
The
I get
business
it.
tune. You
And it's
already know.
necessary in some environments as well. Let's make no mistake about it. Code switching and whatever you want to call it, it's necessary to be able to adapt certain parts of who you are. And I don't think it's inauthentic for you to do that. I think in certain environments, it's necessary for you to be able to function.
So where's the line?
Yeah.
The line is if it becomes something that you don't consciously do. And this is my view, if you're doing it from a place of I feel insecure, or it's not from it's from a place of I need to make you feel comfortable, then you're being inauthentic to yourself. I think it's certain when you go to a business meeting, there's certain conversations you can have that you can't have. There's certain ways of talking. There's certain ways that you have to present yourself when you're trying to. We worked in the nonprofit world.
Yeah,
We're
and
looking
I
into a
don't
sponsor.
disagree, but I'm just saying when we talk about freedom,
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking the question because I am mindful that even in my freedom, I've been polarizing.
Sure.
Even in my freedom, I've been insensitive. So I'm being free, and everybody else is getting railroaded in my freedom.
Yeah, feeling.
So
Because I mean, it's the same. Like,
isolated.
should I decrease because you feel uncomfortable? Should I not be me because like I used to have an issue winning. I used to have an issue winning because I felt like me winning next to maybe others like are going to make them feel some type of way. So I don't want to show that I'm winning.
Right.
I don't want to show you the long driveway. I don't want to show you the 5 acres. I don't want to show you the 3 cars. Like I don't want to show you that because I felt like I'm going to make you feel that you're not free. Do you know what I mean? Versus like, no,
But
God
that's
gave me this.
but okay. Let's break that because these are the
It's
context.
nuanced.
Yeah, but these are important though
For sure.
because that's another great example. So you're not stunting not because you don't want to show people what freedom can give you, but you also see another side of the spectrum where you like me stunting.
It's gonna make you feel insecure.
It's gonna make you actually feel insecure because you don't have it.
Which is their freedom. Their freedom.
Right. Which targets their freedom, their inability to be free. And again, I think there's a necessary, but the person on the receiving end of that can determine or has to determine what that looks like for them. So to your point, to have to dumb yourself down and not be your authentic self for the purposes of offending someone else, that's not your issue. That's their issue. So I think it's two sides of that coin. It's the side of, all right, I may feel offended, but if I'm really serious about it, it should motivate me.
I guess I'm actually struggling with it because I get Julian's point on being free and being your authentic self, but I get your point on being socially cordial,
Right.
and in a sense of considering other people's plight as far as where they're able
they
to
are.
receive it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna put myself in a cage and be like, no, I don't have those things. I don't have those. No, I know I am who I am, but my wife has taught me certain people can't. My objective won't get accomplished doing it the way that I'm doing it.
Right.
That's and so for me, I think I'm free, okay, but I really want this to get accomplished. So
The message, not the
What's-
messenger. Sort of thing.
yeah, so how do I have to switch up the delivery so that you can receive it, so that we can get the mission? You know what I mean? So it's like don't confuse freedom with I guess what I'm trying to say
being
is,
insensitive and also being arrogant or conceited or,
Would you-
or you know what I mean?
I
Like,
think there's two people that right away come to mind, right? One is E.T.
Mhm.
One is Gary Vee. Gary Vee said it before, it's just like, he was one of the guys just like, I'm not going to wear a suit to get on stage. Although they force him to wear a suit because this is what the business world is asking you. The business world say you
That's
can't
how I
curse.
think. I believe that 100%.
Yeah, the business world say you can't curse. The business world say you can't say this. And it's just like, this is who I am. Like, this is who I am.
I respect that about ET as well in terms
ET
of how.
and so remember,
for
I
sure.
did an exercise, right? Which was like, I needed people to understand that there's such thing as your presence has energy. The unspoken word has energy, where I was like, play this song 3 minutes. We're going to look each other in the eye and say nothing, because then you're going to feel and know the truth about someone who is angry, who is sad, because we're the same. So therefore, like, you're going to feel my energy, and a piece of you, when you calm down and don't speak, is going to mirror that energy. As a coach, that's why we do a lot, right? We're mirroring whoever we're coaching. Yeah. And so that means that you trying to do this, yes, there's tools and tacts and way to approach rooms, but not to change who you are because of the environment. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with another person that has the same thing as you, and they're going to feel like when you're trying to be business-like.
Yeah, because
they're not going to be they're not going to be their self. They're just going to be like, okay, I'm going to be business-like too.
Yeah, because I know my whole 30s, my whole 30s was trying to figure out those suits and those masks. Yeah. And then I got about like 37.
And you're like, I'm currently.
It's over.
Yeah,
I'm over. I'm tired. Like and I was here. I was going through COVID. I was like, yep, I'm showing up in the world like this. Yeah. Period. So by the time I got with Jay and all of this, like, I had already did that work of saying, this is how I'm decided to show up. Right. My wife is just making me aware of, you are you, but I know what you ultimately want to do. Right. So consider how they're receiving it, because you're not lying, you're not being unauthentic, but like the point's not getting across. Right. So I'm like, okay, that's when I had to, like, you know what I mean? Like, have people in your life to be like, okay, great, you've got revelation and you evolved, but we still got to move the mission forward. You know what I mean? And that may have to cause you as the leader and the main influencer to just consider a different approach, right, so it can be received.
There's a level, I'm not a millionaire by any stretch of the imagination, but there's a level of freedom. And we've heard conversations, I'm sure, where people feel like money and being wealthy gives you a level of freedom, even from the perspective of not even having to ask anybody for anything. You can live how you want. You could go where you want. There are individual, but I support what you're saying in terms of freedom from a mindset, in terms of not being able to have to acquiesce to what other people perceive is necessary for you to do in a particular space. You know what I mean? And it is a layered perspective. There's a layered way of thinking and approach to it, because in certain environments, as we know, you have to kind of bend and move in a particular way. Does your mindset, does that dictate that does it say that you're not free? Does it say that you're not being your authentic self? If I determine that, all right, I need to go get this sponsorship money from a donor, and they require me to wear a suit or wear a tie. Like you, I struggle with the idea of, am I really, really free? And then, of course, when you look at these social constructs that are present today in America and globally, you know what I mean? Freedom is often being challenged, not just obviously from a legal perspective, but from a societal perspective, and how people operate in their environments. You know what I mean? Saying all that to say that it starts internally. It starts here in your mind first, this concept of freedom. And then as you move outside of me as the individual person, now it comes into, you come in contact with societal things, laws, physical boundaries, financial boundaries that are put on you because you aren't a millionaire. So do you really have a level? Because I could be free in my mind all I want, but if I still have to go to the bank to get a house, to get a loan or a mortgage, there's a certain boundary that's put to that freedom. You get what I'm saying?
I think it comes to the place of like you determining what freedom is to you.
Yeah.
right? Like what does freedom look like for you and your
Sure.
body? You have some people like they look jacked, but they still see themselves as weak.
Mm.
They look like they have the cars, all stuff. They still feel like they don't have enough money.
Mm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, it is this thing, right? That happened. That's why you do need like a coach. Like, I strongly believe it. And you need accountability because you have to have some people that can tell the truth sometimes, right? Like, I would say, some coaching was like, you have to live by a code, real facts, raw feelings about those facts, relevant focus about those, and then the relevant fruits. Like, that's your truth. A lot of time, men lie so much that they live in fantasy. So you can't build anything because you don't even know where you are because you've been lying for so long, right?
Right.
You do that, like you know,
Facts,
oh,
bro.
I'm doing great, and you actually get okay. Show me the numbers.
Yeah.
Are you really doing
When you
great?
see like, and you're like, your audience like you don't have numbers
Yeah.
because your eyes are blinking. You're looking left, and you're trying to go deeper into. Instead, like, no, just give me your numbers. Somebody will tell you how much you make. That's one of the first questions I ask inside of it because I want to know if you're going to be truthful.
And I like how you frame. You do a lot of posting on your platforms. Where you're lying to yourself, and you frame the conversation about internally what people are telling themselves, and really, it's a contradiction to how they're really showing up. Oh no, you're lying to yourself. You say you want to be a good
because they
husband.
forgot. Like the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
one is like, you know, that's how I coach. I use it. I show you the platform, right? I use the Word platform, and a lot of guys will ask me, "Oh, is that your app?" I'm like, "No, it's not my app." Oh, okay. Like almost like it felt like a devaluation of it.
Right.
Like that's the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
Like you have a mission, but you still need to stamp your name into everything that you do.
Right.
It needs to be your book. It cannot be the curriculum of somebody else. It needs to be your app. It cannot be the app of
And
somebody
that's all
else.
insecurity based. That's all insecurity.
Because you need the recognition.
Yeah.
But that's the proof of like a man that's just like you're not mission focused. I need you to tell me like was it a good app?
Validation.
Yeah.
How's my book? Was it good?
Yeah.
I cannot use your book or his book. Be like, I love Coach Crumb's book. Like we're gonna use that as our curriculum
Right.
for like that quarter because I'm like, well, I didn't write it, so it makes me.
It devalues it almost.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're lying. It's about you.
I'm sitting here literally as a proud coach.
Yeah.
I really am
Okay.
because I know the space that Julian came to us, to me and him had a conversation, the support you've been for me for the past couple of years. And I've seen, this is like a third version, right? So I see, for me, I saw the version two steps ago.
Yeah.
And he was just in discovery. He was just, and he kept saying, I don't know why God brought me, man, but I'm here and I'm gonna show up and I'm dedicated. And he showed up to the one-on-one calls. He showed up to the events. He showed up to the mastermind. And then he made a pivot. What's interesting about him, he was so conscious of God in the process that he made a pivot that this is not even about professional business. This is about personal development, personal relationships. And he made a pivot halfway through about his focus personally about that. Like so many people be like, I'm taking this coaching from this business aspect. All I care about is what I get out of this business aspect.
Yeah.
He was like, the
Financial
business
result.
aspect is cool,
Yeah.
but God really told me to connect to certain people. And I'm making an investment to get closer to certain people. And then his perspective shift, and his life started to shift. Would you agree to that?
Yeah.
And that kind of led you to where you are now. And I kind of want to make a pivot on the man you are now, the things you got going on now, the journey that you're on now, you and your wife now. But tell kind of people like now, you know, Julian 2.0, you as a coach, a mentor, a leader, entrepreneur, father, husband, all these roles that you carry, but mainly about you dropped the Warrior app, but really explaining like what you're doing now in the space of coaching.
Yeah, I think I'll share that with you. Like there's an impact point, right? When people say, "Oh, you changed my life." Sometimes I don't like to be given praises. I think you're the same way. Like when people try to give you too much, you're like,
Yeah.
like, what do you want?
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, you're like, what do you want?
I do have an what do you want energy though.
Like, yeah,
if you do it too much, I'm like,
what do you want?
Something's up.
Yeah. Like, when you have, what do you want? But there's a truth behind like you changed my life. And the way I explain it is that there's an impact point. Whenever you meet someone, you go to a conference, you have a conversation, this person, that moment changed trajectory for you. And so truly you can say that you changed my life because we have an impact point that happened, right? And at that moment, everything changes and opportunity opens up. Like for me, it was there. My dad died. Right? I was already hard in discovery. Like, what do you want me to do, God? What do you want me to do, God? What do you want me to do? I know I'm gonna play basketball. I'm just entrepreneurs, but like I feel this is not really what do you want me to do? My dad died, and something inside of me broke and open. It was truly like accessing feelings and emotion. I just didn't know.
Right.
But it had to happen with him dying the way he died. Plane crash, like just boom, December 23rd. Then I had a call with Jay to join Next Level, right? And it was 90% of the money that I had saved up, but I had such the pull. Be like, this is my dude. I can't tell you why. I just feel the energy. You know, I'm like, guy was like, keep on telling me. And I told my wife, and I'm like, it's gonna feel like $1 million. But at some point, we're gonna have other decision that's gonna feel like $1 million. Like I was very clear, like I'm gonna feel like $1 million, but we're gonna have other decision. And from there, boom. And then you and I connected. I was just like, and at one point I told you, I was just like, okay, listen, this is gonna feel very weird, but God is telling me like just like to keep tapping in, keep on just like pouring into you. And just like, you know, I even came from a plant medicine journey, right? And literally there's just a few names that came out. Like one of them was Chris, and I sent a message like it's gonna feel again weird. But I've told myself I'm gonna stop trying to bargain with God and argue. Like, come on, what do you want me to do, man? This is weird.
Obedient.
Yeah, and I just told her, like the message was very clear. It's like, hey, I'm proud of you. Because I understood that there's a place where you don't need to understand. I just need you to know that you're going to be my messenger and going to actually be okay leading. Yeah. And anytime you lead, you're misunderstood. People think that you're crazy. Yeah. People think that you're like so unstable. But it's this place of like, as long as you're in communion, you know, this is where God wants you to go. We did this, and once that happened, I got healed. I was able to create safe space for my wife because I didn't know that there was a such thing as like, you know, emotional safety. Right. Right? My wife was like such much higher in EQ than I am. And so like, then she got healed. Then we both got healed. Then our kids got free. Then our kids asking to get baptized. And like, and then I got, you know, tears. And like, now I'm in a place where like, I feel emotion of people more than I've ever felt. But I've never, like 2 years ago, a year ago, this place felt like impossible because I was so guarded and so low in emotional IQ and being able to feel other people's feeling. Right. And now I can embrace how you feel and actually even have like tears. That's why even at the end of the speech, like I did this thing that I was like, wow, you did it. Where like I literally went and apologized for anybody that hurt you and telling people like, I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. And I started to see the eyes because I was connecting eyes. People like, some people were very close of like crying. Yeah. Because I embodied that person that hurt them. And I was truthful. And for some, like that person never came back to say, I'm sorry. Yeah. You know? And so that point just future value. That was the impact point, but there's such a future value inside of the way I look, the way I feel, my purpose, my relationship with my wife and my kids, obviously production and money. Just out of me saying yes to guys saying, okay, cool, this is your guy. Makes no sense. I get it.
I think that's such an important. I want to make sure people take away a lesson of God's going to tell you to do something that don't make no sense to you. But we was literally talking about this on another episode where you got to honor the call. Like, we was having a discussion earlier this morning just about like, you waiting for it to make sense and for it to be
obedience,
like you have to obey. Man. And what I love about our relationship is that's what happened. It pivoted from this whole, hey, this step, then go to this step, and then go to this step. And he was just like, bump the steps. He was, not me. Right. He was like halfway through, just like, man, I can see I'm gonna get to the steps, but I'm here to get something separate of these steps. Right. Like, you know what I mean? And then to see, and there's one thing to hear somebody have an experience, but to see his life, to see your life, to see the fruit of you honoring that decision, honoring the challenges, honoring the accountability, honor the push. You have to give it back to, you know what I mean? It's like give it back to the student. It's like you did the work. You decide to show up. You decide to make the investments. You decide to keep yourself accountable. You decide to say, Coach, you know, last year, like, I don't know why, but I'm supposed to stay close to you and stay connected to you. I said, listen, bro, I tell people all the time, I'm at a space, I'm not forcing nobody to work with me. I'm not gonna force nobody to be with me. I'm not forcing nobody to stay around me. Like, I'm past all that energy. Like, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. If I'm supposed to work for you, it's gonna work itself out. If I'm supposed to be around you, it's gonna work itself out. If I'm supposed to support, all that's gonna work itself out. But me trying to convince you of that, those days are way past me, man. So it's like, I tell people all the time, the people you see with me is the people that want to be with me. The people you see rock with me, people that want to rock with me. And that's it. But I say this last part, and I hope this be received well. But I tell people, like, you know, I'm anointed. Jeremy's anointed. Like, you're not going to hang around me and my crew and not be blessed. You're not gonna hang. You're not. If you stay around at some point, if you just stay around the fire, because our intentions is not to finesse people. Simply on that principle alone, like, yeah, hey yo, can you go get some money, and then, you know what I mean, you bring it back. I don't even. Those are not even thoughts. It's simply, how can we get better? How can we make things better? How can we make people better? It's all the conversation we have, and hold each other accountable to doing that. Because I know we're tired, and I know we get lonely. I know we get frustrated. I know we get our feelings hurt. So, like, that's our commitment. So I'm like, you should be wanting to hang around anybody that's on that energy, because I'm learning that energy is rare to find in this world. Yeah. So to see other people doing it, and your perspective and seeing what you're doing for other people, I can't explain to you, it's so fulfilling, you know, to just watch, even from afar. So I just want to let you know that, man, I respect you, and I love and appreciate everything you're doing. And I'm proud of you, bro.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I think it's a place of, like, accepting to be the one. Not out of ego. But out of, like, you being willing to show up, being willing to expose yourself and speak truth about, like, how you feel. You know, like, I think that's why some people, like, can connect to Jay at a different level, because he's willing to go to places that people are like, oh wow, like I can never. Yeah. You think the higher you climb, the harder it is. You have more to lose. Yeah. You got nothing to lose. I'll tell people, like, I have 6 kids, and I have a business with a lot of families that watch and listen to everything that I do.
Bro, you said 500. I was like, how many? Yeah. Look, I was like, I had to ask him to repeat himself. I was like, how many people in your program? He was like, 500. I said, hold on. I said, how many people? I said, he said 500. I was like, 500.
Look, that's the thing, where it's just like, they're all listening to everything that you say, that you do, decision based on their kids, based on what you say, what you do, who you are, right? Like, the higher you climb, the more pressure there is.
And how are you managing that? How are you managing that pressure, dude?
I mean, to me, it's just like being able to know that if my wife and I are solid, it's just literally we are so strong together when we are solid. Like, the majority of my time is the work is that. Right. Like, that's why I don't understand the people that don't do marriage coaching, don't do marriage therapy, don't do. I'm like, how are you
functioning?
Because I understand how hard it is to have a strong marriage. Like, really hard. Like, it requires, like, so many skills that you don't get. I'm like, well, you premarital counseling. I did. I'm like, I did. Like, a lot of people did premarital counseling. Like, yeah, we did.
Man,
but
you're
evolving.
The work continues,
that version of her at, like, year 0 of marriage, and my version is, like, so different. You know, and in a place of, we talked about that, like, masculine energy and feminine energy. It's just like, because the man is afraid of being the man because of, like, what the world is telling him, he's decreasing his masculine energy, becoming just a little more feminine. I need to feel and do all this. And now he's showing up as a more of a feminine energy. And the wife is like, that's not what I want. Like, I don't want to be the man of the house and bringing the money and doing the protection and cleaning and cooking and stuff. And you're just there, just like, and he feels even less secure. And it's just like, whatever I even need you. Because the wife feels like a vagina. He feels like a wallet. And then it's just like, I don't need you. But really what she wants is to be in her feminine energy. And that means that you have to rise as a man, but also hold both space. Right. Where, like, I can hold feelings. I can cry in front of you. I'm not afraid to have those conversations talking about feelings and knowing how to ask questions. That's why I think being a coach is powerful, because you know now how to have conversation with your wife and hold space and be a mirror for her. Not somebody's trying to solve. That was a big shift for me. It's like a coach doesn't solve any problem. The coach just keeps on asking you questions.
Revelations. Just
that you're going to. I'm being a mirror of what you're saying. So what you're saying is this. So what you're saying is you don't know the numbers. What you're saying is, like, that you didn't prioritize your time.
Right. So how are we making that shit? How are we prioritizing time?
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, for us, we cannot do date night. It's just very hard to do. We do day dates.
Okay.
Right. We took a very unconventional route for like everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trusting my wife to know that God speaks to her too. Like the quickest example I can give you is like November, after my wife went to a retreat, she came back and she got healed to a different level. She ascended at a very different level. And I was just still like not ready for that version of her, because she came with so much more power. And she had come to a place of like, I don't feel attracted to you. And I just got hit like, what? She's like, not physically, just emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm always looking at the playbook. Like, what is the right play?
What
is the right play? Like, what do I say? Like, what is the right thing to say? She's like, that's the issue. Like, you always think that there's the right thing to say. Yeah. And my words was like, I don't even know which world I'm in. And then, obviously all that changed. But one of the big things she has is like, we have to leave this house now. And I was just like, we just moved. We spent $100,000 building a pool, fixing this. The garage is fully done. Like my podcast and my coaching, like you know what I mean? And like, and now you said we need to move in this market. It's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, all right, okay, cool. We're gonna move. And I'm like, okay, we list the house, we sell the house, we move. She's like, no, we list the house, we move, and then we're gonna sell the house. And I'm like, God, what? That just makes no sense. Like, just makes zero sense, right? And eventually we do. We move Thanksgiving week. I have 6 kids. We also producing a Nutcracker. We're talking about food production of a Nutcracker. This is like a big event that we're doing. Like this is like, and it happens during that week too. My wife felt called to move that week for this property. And so we ended up moving. For a period of time, ended up having a mortgage, rental. Remember, you have to pay first month, last month, month that you're in. You have 2 electricity bills. You have 2 water bills. Yeah, double everything. And I'm like, I don't know how long this can even last. Some people don't get it. Like, now I'm in a place where like I have to trust her and what God told her to do, and be so strong in who I am, knowing that all the energies that I've had in the past are just wanting to bubble up. Right? Uh-oh. All of them, the monster, you talked about the monster, all of them wanted to bubble up, and I have to fully trust. I was like, this is the direction that God is telling her to go to. Right? I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to do it. We're going to move. I just know that the runway is like so tight, but I also know that I cannot have this energy because that's the energy that I'm going to attract. Yeah. Right? And so anyway, we end up doing this, end up selling the house December 30th, closing the 7th. But for that period of time, it was like $3,600 mortgage, $4,500 rental on top. Like, that is the thing that I'm carrying for like this amount of time. But everything pivoted, and that's where a lot of the healing happened and accelerated in her gift. So that was tough.
My goodness.
Yeah. I mean, Julian, man, your story, I just want to honor you as a father, 6 kids. You are champion a business that's taking care of 500. You said 500 students?
Yeah, it's under 500 students.
So let's say that's close to 400 to 500 families. So there's some brothers and sisters in there, but man, the work you're doing out in Houston, the work you're doing for men, I just want to say I'm proud of you again, man. Thank you. How can the people know more about everything that you got going on?
Yeah, so you can, there's a group that I like to send people to because it's a place, it's almost a continuation of the conference, right? A place where men can actually go and have conversation and release in a safe space. It's called The Dad, The Myth, The Legend. It's like this ascension of becoming a legend instead of your family tree. It's on Facebook. It's a free group. We just don't accept everybody because I'd say it's a container.
Right.
And instead of the container, my job as the one that is leading is to protect the container.
Yeah, sure.
Protect like who is coming in and how we're behaving inside that container. Because it's a place where men are sharing deep things, are sharing vulnerable things. And that means things need to stay within that space. Yeah. And that's a great place to be. Because sometimes for a conference, you're so excited and stuff, but you're like, what do I do next? Like, I don't have a community that I trust people to come in and I feel safe to share.
That's an important component, man. That is a really important component because it's one thing to open people up, and our conference does that, and people start to talk and men start to have revelations. But if there's no mechanism that allows them to continue to be supported, sometimes it can have adverse effects.
Yeah, because like the guy says, it's just like I shared everything with my wife and then she left me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
But I mean,
like-
it's a place like, I'm excited. I feel like I should be truth. And then I go in and I'm like, dude, before I did this, like I talked to other men.
Yeah.
Then I did it. Then I got coaching.
Yeah. It's
Like I didn't
a
just
lot of steps.
I didn't just drop this bomb and then just left. So my encouragement is just like find us on Facebook, The Dad, The Myth, The Legend. Or if you need the invitation, find me on Instagram, Julian Inspires. I love to collaborate more inside of the conference that has that being almost like a next step. Maybe we'll even have you guys on there as as leaders, because I think there's a power inside of continuing to have guys have daily conversation, not just once a year conversation, not just like listening conversation, but daily accountability with other men that want to be, for me, is that you want to be great dads.
Yeah.
And that requires you to be healed, your wife to be healed. Then your legacy is free.
Come on. Yeah. With that being said, man, you know what it is. You know what to tap in. And again, like and subscribe to Boy Man King Podcast. Follow us and subscribe on YouTube. We're on Boy Man King Talk on IG, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And as you know,
Journey
continues, man. We out. Appreciate you.
Great job, bro. Yeah.
Always. I want to look at that platform.